Greetings everyone. I decided to make this quick video because one, I think it's kind of me putting up a stand from the constant fear mongering and this need to talk about a subject that a lot of people don't really do their job at researching, and I'm talking about COPPA. Because there's a lot of things that is happening, and yes, YouTube is going through changes. YouTube is always going through changes. We know this. They got through changes when I started. They'll be going through changes when one day it ends, and then we all have to live our life without a camera in our face. But think of it logically. YouTube is going through changes, but they are not going to go through these changes where they can completely destroy their channel or destroy their main goal for what YouTube is. If they decide to make a change that will ultimately destroy the creators as well as their own platform, then think of it logically. Just shut down the fucking platform. They're not. And they're not going to shut down the platform, and they're not going to make it even more edgier. They still want to make it family friendly, but they're not going to do these crazy things. And everyone has been so scared and so on another planet with this. And if you do the research and you think about it logically and you think about it from a business sense, you know nothing's going to happen to you. You have to know that, right? So the FTC just recently updated the guidelines of what it is. Really just kind of defined it just a little bit more, so that way people can finally understand it. I put it on Twitter about it, but I'm 90% sure nobody read it. So I'm making a YouTube video so you can hear it from me. So one of the big things that they talk about, how channel owners can determine if their content is directed to children. Under COPPA, there is no one-size-fits-all answer about what makes a site directed to children, but we can offer some guidance. To be clear, your content isn't considered directed to children just because some children may see it. So what that means is, just because children are watching it doesn't mean that it's directed towards kids. I don't know why this is so hard. Just because children may watch it doesn't mean I'm directly aiming it towards the kids themselves. It doesn't mean that. It's just kids can watch it. It's still family friendly, right? But it's just not directed towards kids. However, if your intended audience is kids under 13, you're covered by COPPA and have to honor the rules requirements. So, if you're a creator and you go to Disney and you are purposely hawking your merchandise and telling the kids, hey, buy my merch, buy my merch, buy my merch, tell my mom and dad, tell your mom and dad to buy my merch. Jake Pauling it up, right? This falls right in the line. Okay, so maybe you're still confused, right? So let's go a little bit further down the line. The determination of whether content is child-directed will be clearer in some contexts than the others, but we can share some general rules of thumb. First, unless you're affirmatively targeting kids, there are many subject matter categories where you don't have to worry about COPPA. For example, if your videos are about traditionally adult activities, like employment, finances, politics, home ownership, home improvement, or travel, you're probably not covered unless your content is geared towards kids. So, let's break that down just a little bit more. The travel part is the most important piece of the entire puzzle that people may miss. If your videos are about traditionally adult activities, Disney is a travel still channel. Your Disney content, if you go to Walt Disney World and you go to Universal. Kids under 8 can't find the money to go to Walt Disney World. They can't go. Where do they get this money? Where do they get the funds? They can't just go to Disney. Disney, yes, at its core is a place for kids to go. But the act of traveling there, to be there, adults are watching that too, right? So, unless you are making the Disney content specifically for kids to watch, then there it is. But see, for me, my entire audience is around my age bracket. It's 30 to 45-year-olds. You know, there's not a lot of kids that are watching my content. I've never been directed towards kids. A lot of people haven't. But it says right there. And it says, on the other hand, if your content includes traditional children pastimes or activities, it may be child-directed. If your content includes traditional child pastime or activities. What? Like playing Barbies, opening toys, playing toys. That might be something. For example, the FTC recently determined that an online dress-up game was child-directed. It's if you're directing it directly to kids, then that may be a situation. This is right there on their website. FTC, I'm looking right at it. Second, just because your video has bright colors or animated characters doesn't mean you're automatically covered by COPPA. While many animated shows are directed to kids, the FTC recognizes there can be animated programming that can appeal to everybody. Disney, Mickey Mouse, Goofy, all of that appeals to literally everybody. Frozen 2 is the highest movie in the country right now, and it wouldn't be because a bunch of 8-year-olds decided to see Frozen 2. Frozen 2 is a popular movie because literally everybody in the known world wanted to go see Frozen 2. It's everywhere. And finally, if you applied the factors listed in COPPA rule and still wonder if your content is still directed to children, it might help to consider how others view your content and content similar to yours. Has your channel been reviewed on sites that evaluate content for kids? Is your channel or channels like yours mentioned in blogs for parents of young children or in media articles about child-directed content? Have you surveyed your users, or is there other empirical evidence about the age of your audience? Yes, YouTube has this. You can literally look at it. And is my channel being mentioned in blogs for parents for young children that their young kids can watch? Absolutely not. There is no way I'm listed on Mommy Weekly as the #1 blog for children to watch, and neither is a whole lot of other people. It's right there. I was like, you know what? I should just talk about it. I hate talking about it. I hate talking about it. And I think that, to be completely honest with you, I hate hearing anything that has to do with COPPA. It's literally anything that has to do with COPPA. Any YouTube video, any comments, anything else. It's stupid, it's silly, it's fear-mongering. Because on one hand, if I'm a creator and I'm talking about COPPA, then I'm talking about all the things that it's affecting me by. It's affecting my money, it's affecting on whether I can do the same content, it's affecting me doing what. But what it's also doing, and it's kind of a boomerang effect, is that now I'm telling other creators that they shouldn't do Disney content. I'm telling other creators that maybe they should rethink about the content they're doing. And I'm telling creators to completely stop what they're doing. So a lot of them are quitting their channels. Why would I do that? Why would I even tell another creator, hey, quit your content and quit your channel because of this? Because if I tell people about COPPA and then you turn around and delete your channel, but I also go back around and make another Disney video, then all I'm doing is thinning the herd. And I'm removing the people from even competing with me. And that is kind of what all of this came into. Instead of waiting and seeing if this was going to be well defined, which it has, then we created a culture of fear to where people have to like think twice on whether they're going to do a video or not. But I feel this article right here makes the most sense, and it is the thing that people should read before anything else. It's ridiculous, the fear mongering and the scares and the scare tactics and everything else like that. It's too much. It's too much, and it should end. So that's it. I'm done. I'm sick of it. I'm out.